everybody who's here today, especially today, perhaps because they heard of our call for support, because the corporation, the Pioneer Courthouse Square Incorporated Corporation, has decided to make an example of the Friday rally and march.
No!
They want to make sure that they could never be accused of selective enforcement of the ban against any forms of amplification.
Oh, this is why they're selectively enforcing it against you?
I think that may be it. I think Ms. Tinker might have it. But I know that we're not finished with this discussion yet.
No.
This is an ongoing discussion.
Yes.
And I'd like to get your help with a little sound amplification of a particularly relevant bit of reasoning that we find in something called the Bill of Rights. Now, the Bill of Rights, as you know,
What's that?
are the first 10 amendments to the Constitution. And I'd like, with your help, to amplify my somewhat weak voice in reciting these. Well, let's start with the first one, and we'll see if we want to continue from there.
Do you have more copies? Is that what
I do have other copies, but I will say it loudly, a little phrase at a time, and perhaps you can
repeat?
project.
All right.
And I suspect you can project even better than our little megaphone here. And what's more, you don't need batteries. So let's start. Congress shall make no law.
Congress shall make no law
Respecting an establishment of religion.
respecting an establishment of religion
Or prohibiting the free exercise thereof.
or prohibiting the free exercise thereof
Or abridging the freedom of speech.
or abridging the freedom of speech
Or of the press.
or of the press
Or the right of the people peaceably to assemble.
or the right of the people to peaceably assemble
And to petition the government
and to petition the government
for a redress of grievances.
for a redress of grievances.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have some serious grievances
Yes.
with this government, and sadly and tragically with this city that is forcing us to strain our vocal cords in this way. And I must say that as a young man of 49, I think I'm up to that. Now and again, I know it's necessary, but I know there are people in our community whose voices we need to hear, and yet they are not going to be screaming as I am today. And these people ought to have the right to use this simple technology so that their voices can be heard. This is not some issue of disrupting the to and fro of people on Pioneer Courthouse Square. This is protecting the ability of each American, each person who wishes who wishes to join us today or any other Friday or any gathering of this kind to have their voices heard. So I thank you for being here tonight. And I would close simply by saying that even though we were quoting from the Bill of Rights, as each of you know, this Bill of Rights is worthless, 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 unless each of us is willing to fight for it. None of these rights were won organizers for a union. They may have been organizers for the Communist Party. And they went to jail. And they fought this fight in the courts. And they won, establishing precedents that we benefit from today.
And they used their megaphones to do it.
As I say, this is an ongoing struggle. And I invite anyone here to come and say their piece. Not only about this struggle here at Pioneer Courthouse Square, but what it is that brings us here to speak out. This criminal war in Iraq. The criminal war and occupation in Afghanistan. The criminal occupation of the West Bank and Gaza. The attacks on the Bill of Rights. The illegal detentions in Guantanamo. The incorporation of torture in the practices of this country. And the list goes on and on.
Okay, I'd like to speak out.
Yeah!
The central problem is the fear of those who know what's wrong to be willing to risk their own lives and liberty, to be willing to put themselves in the path of possible arrest when they are oppressed with unfair regulations, like being told they can't use a megaphone. Some of us with disabled voices need them.
Thank you. I got something to say. Pioneer Courthouse Square Incorporated selective enforcement of the noise ordinance is what you would call a preemptive strike. That's something that they have in common with the Bush administration. Freedom of speech. Use it or lose it.
This week I sent out some SOS emails for some help down here this Friday night. And I'd like to say thank you very much for those people who responded, came down here tonight. I know the Beavers are playing tonight, so you might be missing some of that game. Also, an article was printed about us with our lovely pictures in the Oregonian. And I wanted to say, just for myself, speaking only for myself, but I think the whole group, that I don't know what connection they were trying to make here concerning racism, but I don't remember anything about that down here with this group. And I don't remember that any time that anybody drove up and down the street, rolled down their window and wanted to talk to us, we took a look in that window to see what color their skin was. This is open to anybody. Anybody can come down here. If they don't want to come down to us, they're either too damn lazy or they're the ones that have the bad attitude. And finally, we saw in Pakistan this week, 2 days ago, this is what happens when you sit down to parley with dictatorships. There is no democracy when you're trying to buy these people off with money, where they're misdirecting the weapons money into building weapons to attack another democracy. This has got to come to an end. And we need to stand down here, defend our rights to our freedom of speech, be as loud as we possibly can, and just keep banging our heads up against this until we get the job done. Thank you.
Citizens, hear me out. The free speech fight for this corner can be won. It can be won. I have no problem talking this loud. I spent 20 years talking louder than prosecutors, so I enjoy talking loud. And I will talk loud about this, that because of the common law custom and usage of this corner, we can establish with a little bit of evidence that this has always been a free speech corner ever since Pioneer Square was devised. The great English jurist Lord Blackstone, in his commentaries, wrote, when does custom and usage become the law? When does custom and usage become the law? It becomes law when memory of man runneth not to the contrary. If there's no one with a memory of this not being a free speech corner where megaphones are used and drums are beaten and issues are addressed, well, we've got a really good argument. Now, I just reactivated my federal law license, and I'm looking for someone to sue. So, let's look for somebody, anybody, people who have assembled here in Brevity in the first year, the first, go through to the cement drive, came here to this corner and did political things. Because if we do so, we are well on our way to winning that case.
I can't hear you.
So we are talking with National Lawyer Guild lawyers and others who will take part in this effort. We'll be here next Friday, and anything can happen. The more people here, the more people who raise their voices, the more bold we as a community can become. One person, one voice, that's strong, that's important. Two people, stronger yet. Three, even more strong. And 200 people, we have a movement.
Yeah.
So I invite
Use the
you.
megaphone to build the movement, or are you just going to stay here and talk about it with a small group?
So I invite you all to join us next week. And to join us as we march through the streets now, to make a little noise, to make sure people remember what's going on the other side of the world during these holidays.
And everybody bring 2 more next week.
And your megaphone.
Email your friends.
Hey, pots and pans are not amplified devices.
And feel free.
With what's an amplified device. If we've got a right to freedom of speech, if we think we have a right to use the amplified device, we should just use it.
Feel free to bring your
At least those
megaphone.
of us who are willing to should do it.
Feel free to bring your megaphone.
Thank you.
I think we ought to take this to city council if we can. We need to do something because that's infringing upon our rights.
We've been down here for over 6 years,
You've been
every
great.
Friday. That's at least 300 Fridays in a row that we've been down here, and the police have never once stopped us on account of the noise. Not once. They used to come down here all the time, and they never said a word about it. It's Pioneer Courthouse Square Incorporated that is now making an issue of this, and I have to wonder why.
I have to wonder what we're going to do about it.
Well, we've told you what we're doing about it. If you want to, we are not discouraging anybody from taking any kind of nonviolent direct action they'd like to take. We're taking a particular line on this, and we're moving forward.
That's
There's your
cool.
witness. Anna, grab the megaphone. Just kidding.
Can't hear you.
In 1980, when this was being built, what did they ask the public to do? Buy a brick for your kid or yourself. My kids, Sally Ann, because they're arranged alphabetically, is in that corner. So
And so are our
anybody,
kids.
and some even wanted to buy family plots. They came to the public to subscribe to build this, and now they want
Right.
to throw us out of here. When we were down here passing out leaflets, I'm in the impeachment group, and I was the only one early in the morning, and out came the rent-a-cop. You can't be here, and if you don't get out of here, blah, 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 get over to Nordstrom's. And I said, what about the sidewalk? That's public thoroughfare. We own this, he said. And just like that, a little guy. I said, because I know be nice. I said, do you have the ordinance that says that we can't be on the sidewalk or in here? I'll get it. So he went running in there, and the only thing he could bring out was a phone number that I could call to see what the law was. So we know they don't know much. But this, they asked for the public to put $25 a brick down there, and now say this is not public property.
Hey, we
You
did
don't
a-
come to the public and ask for money and then say you're out. You can't be here. I would advise anybody who has a kid, or if your brick is down there, stand on
We should
it.
come here with our megaphones and stand on the bricks.
All right.
Yeah, okay,
have a
Bonnie.
brick.
Thank you.
You have a brick too, see?
Hey, all right. Okay, well,
All ready to go? Yeah. Shall we go make some noise elsewhere with the use of a megaphone? Okay, okay, let's.
Let's talk later. 'Cause, yeah, you're going to use one round.
I want one who will.
The pilot, well,
With a little bit more work in discussion. You were here day one, and you were here to say that this was a free.
oh, I don't know.
The bus project has this big time.
Free speech as it used to be known.
There it is.
There it is.
Sounds like the batteries might be winding down.
Okay. Too late now.
Still working on the side. Bunch of anarchists.
Troops home now! Out of Iraq, bring them back! Troops home now! Out of Iraq, bring them back! Troops home now! Out of Iraq, bring them back! Troops home now! Out of Iraq, bring them back! Troops home now! Out of Iraq, bring them back! Troops home now! Out of Iraq, bring them back! Troops home now! Out of Iraq, bring them back! Troops home now! Out of Iraq, bring them back! Troops home now! Out of Iraq, bring them back! Troops home now! Out of Iraq, bring them back! Troops home now! Bring them back! Troops home now! Out of Iraq! Bring them back! Troops home now! Out of Iraq! Bring them back! Troops home now! Out of Iraq! Bring them back! Troops home now! Out of Iraq! Bring them back! Troops home now! Bring them back! Troops home now! Out of Iraq! Bring them back! Troops home now! Out of Iraq! Bring them back! Troops home now! Out of Iraq! Bring them back! Troops home now! Out of Iraq! Bring them back! Troops home now! Out of Iraq! Bring them back! Troops home now! Out of Iraq! Bring them back! Troops home now! Out of Iraq! Bring them back! Troops home now! Out of Iraq! Bring them back! Troops home now! Out of Iraq! Bring them back! Troops home now! Out of Iraq! Bring them back! Troops home now! Out of Iraq! Bring them back! Troops home now! Troops home now! Out of Iraq! Bring them back! Troops home now! Out of Iraq! Bring them back! Troops home now! Troops home now! Out of Iraq! Bring them back! Troops home now!
You got my son. You're right there.
Troops home now!
Out of Iraq, bring them back.
Troops home now!
Out of Iraq, bring them back. Out of Iraq, bring them back.
Troops home now!
Out of Iraq, bring them back.
Troops home now!
Out of Iraq, bring them back.
Troops home now!
Out of Iraq, bring them back.
Troops home now!
Out of Iraq, bring them back.
Home now!
Out of Iraq, bring them back.
Troops home now!
Out of Iraq, bring them back.
Troops home now!
Troops home now!
Out of Iraq! Bring them back!
Troops home now!
Out of Iraq! Bring them back!
Troops home now! Troops home now! Troops home now!
careful work to figure out what to do about this. But the fact of the matter is, this group has been silenced tonight by a threat. And that is a threat to our liberty.
That's right.
All right.
Now there's another thing I'm going to ask of folks. You're so generous with your time, generous with being here, generous with your voices. And I wonder if you could be generous with your pocketbooks as well. Sadly, our little megaphone's batteries have run out. Now, we don't want this to happen next week. No. So I'm wondering if we can pass this little cap around and reach deep down. And I'm not going to say give until it hurts. I'm going to say Well, it feels good. And you know that's true.
Please go chicken hunt.
You got those.
Please go chicken hunt.
Those chicken hunt.
Please go chicken hunt.
Slaveholders. Presidents of the United States. I'd like to relieve you of those presidents. This is going to the fund for the Friday Rally batteries.
The holy battery.
So while Will is collecting the dues, the bus project to a good vote.
Thank you.
Are holding a conference starting the 11th.
Thank you, sir.
Nice job, Will.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for filming tonight. Thank you
Is
very much.
Earl, free trade, impeachment off the table, Israel gets to invade Lebanon, homegrown terrorism, Blumenauer.
What's the day?
January 11th.
What day?
He's speaking at 3 o'clock at Montgomery Park.
January 11th.
If you know Bus Project people, tell them, get them off the program. Booting democracy is Earl's job. Rebooting democracy is ours.
I just want to say, as we have been for the last 300 plus Fridays, we will be here, of course, next Friday. And we will have a megaphone. Hopefully this time I'm sure we'll be working. I'm not sure that we will use that megaphone here on the square. We're in the process, I think, of discussing among ourselves and perhaps Pioneer Cornell Square management and the police as to what we're going to do, if we can work something out or not. But just because we may not be using that megaphone here, I'm not saying that anybody else who wants to bring a megaphone can't use it.
I have a megaphone. I'll be here. I'll share.
So remember, January 11th is National Shut Down Guantanamo Bay Day. Everybody keep that in mind as well.
And every Thursday noon is Impeach Bush.
Anybody wants to read about Guantanamo, read the Guantanamo Files by Andy Worthington. It's an excellent book.
I also want to say something. I've lost my voice a bit, but yeah, I need a megaphone. I just want to say that I was over at the recruiting center this morning, along with the Raging Grannies, or as they like to be called, the Seriously Pissed Off Grannies. And they were at it again. Of course, they were acquitted a week or so ago of the same sort of thing that they're up to today. The police were called by the recruiters who didn't like them. They're leaving things on the wall. The police went in and talked to them for a while, then they came out and talked to some of us, and strangely no arrests were made this time.
Well, and this is really significant because they were convicted of a violation when they were acquitted of the misdemeanor. There was writing with tempera paint. There were red handprints and doves taped on the windows. And there was a decision not to issue any citations. And what was overheard them discussing something like they'll get a jury trial.
And we know how that will go.
Right. Now, we don't know exactly how this all got on the windows, but I know there are window writers on sale at the dollar store for $1.
So, if you're a raging granny, can you please raise your hand so we can...
Seriously pissed off.
Here for peace and couldn't be prouder.
Yeah.